Hey, this is Robin Nielsen. This is our Hormone Breakthrough Wednesday, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. I have a very special guest, and I can't wait to share her with you. These are interesting times, and I hope that you are, finding ways to enjoy sheltering in place and doing some, lovely self-care activities. I think this is a perfect topic for today, all about the mind body connection, because for many of us, we actually have some time for self care right now. So I want to welcome the beautiful Dr. Erin Moore. Hi, Erin.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh gosh, it's so great to be here with you. And I want to tell you a little bit about Dr. Erin before we jump into some awesome information today. I actually met Dr. Erin when I agreed to go on. Well, actually, I had to fill out a huge application to apply to go on this adventure to Nepal to help. Actually, in a health clinic in a small village outside of Kathmandu. And I'd never been on quite an adventure like that before, but I was ready. I was ready to step out of my comfort zone and do something much bigger than myself. And so I filled out this huge, long application, and she accepted it. And then I met her over video, just like this, when she sort of explained about the nonprofit organization Participate. And then it wasn't until I actually got all the way to Kathmandu in Nepal that I actually got to meet her in person. And it was an incredible adventure. It's a story all by itself of how she started this incredible organization. It actually took place over a number of years. And she just fell in love with the people of Nepal. And we'll have her tell us a little bit more about that. And it was an incredible adventure for me. And I just have come to absolutely love this beautiful woman. And the work she does is so profound. She's amazing. So I would like to tell you a little bit about her in a more formal way. Dr. Erin Moore is a naturopathic physician. She's an expert in mind-body medicine, which we don't hear very often, a behavior change teacher, and a self-marriage coach. Is that a cool concept or what? She's motivated to serve by the many women who suffer because they live in a way that is disconnected from their true selves. The problems that result from this disconnection range from low-level anxiety and self-sabotage to the physical pathology of chronic disease. Her life's work is to help women prevent and reverse these symptoms by knowing more deeply and accepting more completely who they are. She's certified in a technique called holistic counseling, which is a really big deal, which helps her clients to navigate their own internal world, shining a light on subconscious beliefs of the past that are tied to their current suffering. Her passion for empowering people to transform their own lives extends all the way to Nepal. Dr. Erin is the founder and director of Participate, a nonprofit whose mission is to help grow healthy communities in rural Nepal through local engagement. It is the coolest thing that she set up. So welcome, Dr. Erin.
Thank you so much.
So great to have you here today. So I want you to share a little bit about how you got started in serving communities in Nepal with actually helping them get access to healthcare when they have none.
Sure. Well, it was actually a bit of serendipity. I first met this community in 2009. I was with a friend and we were going trekking in a community in the north of Nepal, and our bus broke down. And we had two options, which were either to trek back to Kathmandu, which would have taken several days, or to follow these strangers on the bus that just promised us that they knew someone that spoke English in their village. So we took the risk and walked with these strangers soon to become friends who took us to a house in this beautiful village called Carmidanda, and introduced us to a man that did speak English. And that was really the start of the relationship. Like my friend and I just fell in love with the people and the place, and it really, like, the development of this organization was me started as me just trying to figure out, like, I really want to come back here, so what do you guys need? Maybe I can, provide that. And I'd always kind of had it in my mind that I wanted to be a doctor. So this was before I went to medical school, and they were like, yeah, we need a doctor. I was like, okay, well, we'll start there. Okay, I was going to do that anyway, so I'll go to medical school. And just slowly through the years, I worked with the local people to set up an organization, like an NGO on their own. And really, it was a long story, but we just kind of learned the ropes of community development together. We would just look ourselves out into the community and see what needed to be done from our perspective. And then we would raise some money, I'd bring over some doctors, and we'd do it. But over the years, we learned that unless I was there with money and doctors from America, then things weren't really happening. Like, we hadn't engaged the local community. It was more like Band-Aid from the outside instead of like catalyzing sustainable change from within the community. So in 2015, 2014, 2015, we really shifted the way that we were approaching development there. Started training local people and bringing in experts. And and so now there's an organization there that kind of runs the show. And in terms of the healthcare piece, they've always been kind of they have local facilities, but always understocked and underserved. So at this point, we're just coming at their request to meet specific needs, because they don't ever see a doctor there. So women's healthcare and chronic pain have been our focuses in the past, dental care, gastroenterology, and things like that. And just this year, we are finally kicking off like a project that's been brewing for a long time, which is a plant medicine project. There's a lot of interest in naturopathic medicine over there. And so now I'm really excited about this new project, because it really is, it's got that like from the ground up, like local engagement. They do it themselves. We'll be teaching them and training how to use local plants as medicine, but also in the basic principles of living a naturopathic lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's so amazing. And just recently, the Nepal government actually designated naturopathic medicine as one of their healing modalities. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and we're working with Nepal has its own kind of naturopath, but they've kind of been like I don't know, under the radar, or not working so much in collaboration with the government. So now the team that Robin and I worked with when we were over there are collaborating with the government and with Nepal's existing naturopathic doctors to really make this a movement, not just in that one village. So that same village that I stumbled into from the broken bus is the same village that Robin came to serve in. So we're just it's taken us this long to really kind of figure out a system that works and can create sustainable change. So yeah, we're at like the precipice, like a transition to now expanding to other parts of the country. Yeah, and I know I gotta toot Robin's horn here, because you guys, the reason that we started working together and became so close after this trip is because of the maybe 12, 13 participants we had on this trip. Robin like rocked it the hardest. Everybody got sick but Robin, and she just had the greatest attitude and was so like wise and brilliant with her patients, had so much knowledge. I was like, I don't know what this woman's secret is, but I had to follow her around for a while. Like, what she's got to teach. So you guys are all so lucky to be in this group and to have her wisdom, have her looking over you.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah, Erin is an amazing leader, and it was so cool just to do what I was told. Okay, we're going to meet at this time. We're going to do this today. I'm like, okay, I can do that. It was nice not to be in charge, but it's so nice to see, Erin do her thing, and just in such a graceful, easy way, kind of the opposite of me. It's like, okay, let's do this. And Erin's like, okay, we got this, laid out for today, and we're going to do that. And don't worry about that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that feels so good. Yeah, so it's wonderful. So, we have a big thing on our hands right now, right? We're supposed to be sheltering in place, and the world has become a much different place in a really short period of time. And I don't know what's happening in Oregon, but I've heard that Washington, they've had a lot of cases. And we would just love to get your take on what you think about all this, and if there's anything just very specific that you think that would be supportive right now before we get into the mind-body connection.
Sure. Thank you so much for asking that, because I have a lot of big thoughts and feelings about it. I just shared this morning on my own social media. I was inspired to make a video about the naturopathic principle of terrain. So in naturopathic medicine, one thing that really distinguishes us from conventional medicine and the standard allopathic model is that we never just treat the bug. It's not about the virus. It's not about the bacteria. It's about, when we say terrain, we mean the place where the virus or the bacteria lives, AKA you. Your tissues, the fluids, the blood, the lymph, the mind. The mind body that creates this, that is the ecosystem where the virus lives. So we either can create an ecosystem where this virus can thrive, or where it has no chance of surviving. So when allopathic doctors are having this conversation, we have no treatment for this, there's nothing we can do, we have to wait for the vaccine. I'm so fortunate and grateful that we have naturopathic doctors, because there's so much we can do, to treat the terrain, and this is the work that you're doing in here all the time, right? Really just building up the reserves of the body, so that, a healthy system, a healthy ecosystem is not compatible with this virus. So that's just all the basic things, of a healthy lifestyle, a healthy diet, and having fresh air, and love and laughter, and all the pieces that we can maybe get to later. But one thing I also wanted to, this pandemic is kind of forced us all to be kind of a bit in isolation, to literally sometimes, for some people, to really be with ourselves. And it's forcing us to focus on our own terrain, on our own internal environment, and what we can do in our lives to help to prevent infection, or just to bolster ourselves, to make us more healthy and harmonious beings. I did just want to add what is a really important piece here, and that is the concept of the, as within, so without. What's happening on a micro scale is also happening on a macro scale. So we should be sure to think about our relationship with the planet now, and how over time, this relationship, our abuse and overuse of resources, has brought us to the point where even this sort of pandemic is possible, So I really hope that we all take this time to just reevaluate. Our whole lives have changed by necessity. And so it's really an opportunity it's just amazing, for the whole world to reevaluate our relationship with ourselves, with our families, and with the planet. And so it's really powerful in that way.
So beautifully said. What a great concept. What's, within is without. That's amazing. Yeah.
So I was talking to a friend yesterday, and it's two different states. Like I can feel like the collective anxiety, you know, like because there's so much we don't know. Like how long is this gonna last? How bad is it gonna get? Who's gonna live? Who's gonna die? Like, am I gonna get it? What's gonna happen to me? Like there's so many unknowns. So we can at one like, and the whole world has their fears like expressing in a different way. So we can feel that. But I really, yeah, maybe we can help to remind people that there is this other state, you know, that's all just like thinking and thoughts, but really we are like connected with every other person in this world that is going through the same experience and being pushed to heal ourselves and to reevaluate how we want to, when on the other side of this, how do we want to come out of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple of PMs from Jabraj,
Mm-hmm.
who I call him the mayor of Karmadanda, but
Unofficial.
kind of an unofficial mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that tourism has just completely stopped there. So everywhere you can imagine, it's having a huge impact on each and every one of our lives. And so what that means is that he doesn't have a job right now, kind of thing. And so it's impacting all of us. They may be a little bit safer because they're kind of already quarantined as a village, but it's impacting every single household across the world.
They also don't use toilet paper. They wash. So they don't have a toilet paper crisis and they get their food from the land, They're not going to have a food crisis. They grow it.
They grow it. Yes. They're very self-sufficient there.
Yeah. So lots of pros and cons to that kind of lifestyle. They don't have all the opportunities that we do, but it's much simpler and the basics are taken care of. And when we find ourselves in our big fancy houses and fancy cars and we can't even get toilet paper, it really makes you think about how we've constructed this show.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. They don't have to worry about being out of toilet paper or paper towels or no, they don't use any of that.
No.
All right, so let's get started on the mind-body connection because it's such a pertinent topic right now. Like this is how we can get reconnected because I heard someone explain, how fear is really just this, or panic is this, fear without really like having steps to address it. We're just kind of reacting and we're not, thinking logically. And so this is a wonderful time for us to deploy, some of the things that Erin is going to teach us today and really about that mind-body connection and why it's so important right now. So you are doing like this incredible work. So I have been so blessed to be able to learn this firsthand from Dr. Erin. She actually has, I have worked with her privately, and it's really an amazing process. And what I wanted to share is that one of the reasons that I ended up in this profession and helping people with their health is because I read an article in Town and Country magazine. It's that magazine that has all the pictures of people getting married. Mm-hmm. All the socialites getting married. Well, I thought there has to be some gem in here. So I remember I was at our family's ranch and I'm looking through the magazine and I get to the very last page and there's this beautiful article and this beautiful spread with Dr. John Sarno, who was a back surgeon. And this was long before I, went back to school and became a nutritionist and focused on hormones and all that. And I was so fascinated because he said that this is coming from a back surgeon now, right? He said 80% of the back surgeries that he did were unsuccessful. Mm-hmm. 80%. So he said, my profession is like, it's not working. So he had to figure out how to help these people heal their back pain without surgery. Because what he noticed was that on the x-rays is that people with no changes in their spinal column or in their bone structure had pain, experienced severe pain, and people with like pretty crazy changes in their spinal column had no pain.
Yeah.
So like he started like bringing all this together and ended up doing a lot of the work, or the work that you're doing, right? But I'm sure you guys have your own styles and stuff, but it was the same thing. It's like, okay, I've got to get these people to figure out like what's not serving them in their lives and how they're disconnected from their body. So Dr. Erin, what is the mind body connection?
Well, thank you for opening up with that. That's a great example, because, and it kind of ties back to what I was talking about in the very beginning about terrain, and like how conventional allopathic medicine is just so focused on like the bug, or in this case, like the disc. If it looks this way, it's very kind of formulaic, and in that way the formula can be very complex, but at least it's like figure outable. We can move these parts this way, but the system is just so much more complex. So the mind body connection may be defined differently by every person you ask, but for me it's funny because I talk about the mind body connection, but I think about them more as a mind body unit. So maybe the like relationship or so would be a better way to put it. But when we're talking about the mind body connection, we're talking about the way that primarily the mind has impacted the body over time. Like how does inevitably whatever is happening in our minds will show up in our bodies. And this can happen, like on the with the COVID-19 virus and the panic and the fear that people are feeling about that. We can think about all the unknowns, and fear will build, and you feel the tightness in your chest, and your heart races, and your palms get sweaty. And this is a really clear example of the mind body connection. Or when if you call out somebody who's unprepared and bring them on stage, they're gonna turn like bright red. Or at the same time, when we were talking earlier about the kind of peace, sense of peace that comes with knowing that we're all like in this this inward journey together, and this like opportunity to reflect and heal our bodies and our relationships and our planet. I feel that like chest relaxing and my heartbeat slowing. So depending on the state of our mind, if it's conscious, what we're consciously thinking of, it's easy sometimes to feel this reaction, sensation in the body. It's the like the sometimes anxiety is a gnawing feeling in the stomach, or it manifests different ways for everybody. But when it becomes an issue for health is when it's the subconscious mind having an impact on the body. And this is where they become one and the same. Often it's said, and I love this saying, that the body is the subconscious mind. And so we can say here, this is the mind body connection, but really it's all just one unit, and manifesting in different ways. So this idea of the body as a subconscious mind, everything that we are aware that we are thinking right now is our conscious thought, and everything else that we've forgotten or we're not actively thinking about is subconscious. So these are often the beliefs that drive our anxieties and insecurities, our not enoughness, our the kind of like negative motivators that kind of push us too far, or in ways that aren't really like true to ourselves, to get love or appreciation, or to feel like we value or matter. These we all of us have some kind of conditioning program in our subconscious mind, even if we're not aware of it. that can have an impact on our bodies, you know? Yeah. And so the mind body connection is really about, in terms of a therapeutic approach is about kind of resolving that that disconnect, because of course any limitations that we might have imagined on our lovability or how much we matter are not true. They're not really us, you know. And we can say that, but it's deep work to really understand that and believe that. And the work that I do with clients is really helping them to release the subconscious beliefs that are not true, replace them with ones that are true. And as my teacher says, the body is the faithful puppy dog of the mind. Like what I said before, what happens in the mind ultimately filters down through the body. So that is one like really subtle and profound way to treat chronic disease.
Mm-hmm.
How is that as an explanation?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And you know, one thing that I learned is that every single cell experiences the emotion that your brain is, the signals that your brain is sending. So, you know, if I'm feeling fear, every single cell in my body experiences that fear. And we need that because if we're trying to save our lives, right? Like if we really are running from the tiger, then, you know, we need every cell in our body to be geared towards saving our lives, you know? But it could be that you lost your car keys, or it could be that you're stuck in traffic, or it could be that you know, that like me, I feel like I have to do the right thing or I'm not going to get love, right? Or whatever it is. It's like that underlying stressor that is in our subconscious that we don't know about. And I loved what you said about how the body is a subconscious mind. Like that is so powerful.
I know.
So you can totally use me as an example, but you know, I've had 3 frozen shoulders, right? So Erin's like, okay, let's do this. I had one here, and then I had one here, and then I had one back here. And if you've ever had a frozen shoulder, you know that you can't lift your arm like more than a couple of inches. So, you know, I learned how to use a mouse with my left hand because I couldn't lift my right arm, you know. And here it was, you know, it was when I became a nutritionist and was doing this work. So not more than like, you know, 6 or 7 years ago. And, you know, it just kept happening. And I'm like, and I can actually tell you exactly what was going on in my life when this happened, right? Like there was a lot of major stress going on. So it was really like wonderful to do the work with Erin and like figure out what was kind of underlying that. Do you want to talk more about that?
I will comment on that because it's parallel to what's happening globally now. Like if you think about it, so in naturopathic medicine, we're also like, our philosophy is that our symptoms are messengers, you know, and that we should listen to them. We shouldn't suppress them. We should listen to the message that they're trying to tell us. And then that is like our healing capacity trying to express itself. And then our work is to clear the way for our body to heal itself. So with your frozen shoulder, so if you guys know Robin, she is like the most proficient doer that ever did. Nobody does like Robin does, you know?
Very
so
funny.
You imagine this frozen shoulder and you literally can't, you know, put your hair up. You can't put your shirt on, you know, like you're put in a situation where you can't do. It was like your body kind of forcing you, or like not forcing, you know, it depends, you know, on how, on everyone's individual expression. But like this was issue that you needed to look at. Why do I need to, what's driving me so much to do? Yeah. And so in our global situation now, all of us are kind of have got like a figurative frozen shoulder, you know? We can't go anymore. Or some of us, you know, you and I are in a different situation that we should check ourselves in because we're working online and oh, it's like, oh, great, now we can hyperdo, you know, but we should be careful. Um, but a lot of us are now like, we can't go to work. We can't earn, like all the things that we might have done to make ourselves feel valuable and worthy, or to prove our worth to ourselves or anybody else, we might not be able to do anymore. So it's like everyone's unique situation is really going to force them to look at the deeper healing that is trying to shine through, ready to come through, you know?
Yeah, so true. That's so true. You know, for a frozen shoulder, you're right. You know, I had to stop doing a lot of things. I physically couldn't. Right. And so that's a really good wake up call to slow down. Of course, my brain is thinking, okay, how is my body not keeping up with this? What more could I give it? What more could I do? Right. Instead of saying, okay, you know, just chill. Although, you know, I had to really chill because that's what you have to do to heal a frozen shoulder. You know, I was given advice, you know, to maybe do surgery or to take some pretty potent drugs. Right. And I just opted to use tequila for a short time to get through.
Less painful side effects.
Less side effects. And they take a really long time to heal. So they can take easily up to a year to heal. And I had one that, you know, took longer than that. And I just kept asking myself, okay, you know, what's going on here? Like, how am I not showing up in a way that's really serving myself? So now I can happily say I don't have like any shoulder problems, but it's a lot of work, and it's not always the food you eat, the lifestyle you live, the nutrients you take. It has so much to do with what's going on in your subconscious that, you know, we're not even aware of. Like, that's incredibly powerful information. And I love the analogy that you gave of like the world kind of has a frozen shoulder right now. And, you know, I look at it, I mean, we're all looking at it differently. And I feel for so many people on so many levels. And like you said, you can just like feel this fear and panic and, you know, all of that. But on another level, I feel so grateful that we can reconsider things right now. Like we can start like evaluating everything that is in our lives, even the people we're connected with, the lives that we've set up for ourselves, and we can completely redo them right now. Like we can make a new agreement with ourselves and how we show up in this world. I'd love for you to talk about that for a minute.
Thank you so much. That was awesome, because I was just like actually talking about this morning. The physiology of anxiety and excitement are the same. It's only like perspective, right? So we can feel anxious about the state of the world and all of the unknowns and what's going to happen, or we can be excited about what's on the other side, you know, because we do have to go through. The only way out is through. So I use that trick a lot in my life. Like, whenever I'm feeling anxious about something that I know is good for me to do, there's a different kind of fear of like things that, you know, are an actual threat to your environment. But it's just a shift in perspective. You know, the heart racing, sweaty palms, tightness. It can be either anxiety, or if we have a vision of what is on the other side, of how we're going to transform in this process, then we can easily shift that to excitement. And that's just a practice, you know. If you try it once, believe me, it's true. And then it just takes practice. But is this a good time to talk about my planning party?
Yes, let's talk about your planning party, and then I also want to share about your quiz, right? That women can. I think the quiz is really important to talk about maybe first, and then we can jump into to your planning party.
Okay. Can I squeeze one more thing in before the quiz?
Yes.
It's super quick. This is because I really want to leave you guys with a tool that you can take out of here right now to start like healing yourself. And this is really, it can be really challenging work. I have 100% faith in you all that you can do this work yourself. But just like Robin said, it's sometimes really, it takes everyone in their own time. It takes time to really like see inside yourself. It's hard to see something when you're inside of it. So, the first, yeah, and Robin mentioned at the beginning, I'm a self-marriage coach. So in my mind, self-healing and self-marriage are the same thing. And the first skill that I teach to all of my students and clients and to all of you guys is a tool in self-kindness. So this is called undercover kindness. This little trick I'm going to teach you right now. It is undercover because you can do it anytime, anywhere, and nobody will have to know that you're doing it. So you don't have to be like embarrassed. Oh, this is me being kind to myself. So we can all do it together right now. You don't even have to close your eyes. But there's three components of it. First, your breath. So it's your breath, your hands, and your words. So first, we'll do the breath. So everybody, just take a nice deep breath in and out. And imagine that your breath is saturated with kindness. Kindness is in every little drop of your breath, and it can go anywhere in your body, from the tip of your head to the tips of your toes, wherever you might feel that tension or that tightness. Just breathe in kindness. And this is really easy at the beginning to do with deep breaths, but you can, after practice, do it with shallow breaths. And then the next part is your hands. So if you just like hold your hands up for a minute, you can, and be quiet, you can feel a little tingle, a little buzz. And I like to imagine that is kindness. This is your own energy coming through. So then like placing it on your heart or anywhere on your body. If you're, so this isn't super undercover, right? If you're with other people when you want to practice this, just a hand on the thigh, can help. But just really like knowing that through your touch is coming your kindness for yourself. And if you are by yourself, I like the hair pet, the face pet, whatever is just like a nice kind gesture towards you. And then the third, if you're like driving, you can just like loosen your grip, breathing and soften. If you're chopping vegetables, just like check in and like loosen up your arms. Don't hold it so tight. Folding laundry is another great time to do this. And then the final one is just with your words. So if you're in a specific situation where you really need kindness, like you did the best you could, or I forgive you, but in general, just I love you, to yourself, I love you. Breathing and soft hands, and I love you. And that practice, like best done in, mundane moments, like cooking or driving or folding laundry. If you practice that, that is how you make being kind to yourself like an instinct, a habit. It's how it worked for me. It's gotten me through so many hard situations and like, tasks that I hated to do, just undercover kindness for hours. So that is one thing, easy thing that we can all do to start just to building that relationship, like a foundation of kindness in the way that we work with ourselves, so that whatever comes up, we can meet it with kindness. Okay, so I hope you guys like that tip. And then the quiz we were talking about is actually pretty fun. I like it. It's a quiz that I crafted to help you determine like if mind body misalignment is an issue for you, because it can be kind of hard to tease out, and there's lots of different ways that it can manifest. Like I said, it can be like a little anxiety, or you're sabotaging yourself, or you have like chronic disease. This quiz will be basically, it's just like a minute and a half it'll take you to take it, and 10 questions, and at the end it gives you kind of a grade from mild to significant, how in line or out of line are your mind and body. And that quiz is in my Facebook group, which is, there's like a lot going on there now. I have my Facebook group is, like we were talking about earlier, it's a self-marriage Facebook group. So it's where totally for free, I'm kind of helping women walk through this process of self-marriage. So we talk about all these different concepts of self-kindness is one of the foundations. This month was self-honesty, where we talked about like how do we really look to know ourselves better. Next month is actually going to be self-protection. Like how can we look at our protective mechanisms and actually protect ourselves like in the current environment. But it's a great group. And so if you head over there, which Robin can share a link, then the quiz is like the first thing in the group at the top of the page. And anything else you think we should talk about?
Yeah. So can you, your group is, how would they find your group? And Rebecca will post the link. So it's self-marriage.
Yeah. The group is called How to Marry Yourself, but
okay.
And the link is, like the URL at the end is like self-marriage.
Yeah. So I think that, that Rebecca will find that and post the link so that you can hop on over there and take the quiz. Mm-hmm. So the quiz is going to really like help to give you some insights as to how, your subconscious is affecting your body and the symptoms that you may be experiencing. And I think that, one of the favorite things that you said today is the body is the subconscious mind. And I love that because, I always talk about how, our body whispers to us, right? And starts to tell us things. And, oftentimes we don't listen. And then it starts to talk a little bit louder, and then it's, sometimes it takes our body to be screaming at us, like with my frozen shoulders, right? To say, exactly. Okay, sister, now you've got to pay attention to me.
I hear you. Okay.
So, I always encourage, all of my tribe to, listen when your body is whispering to you. So Dr. Erin is just the most beautiful soul in the world, and she teaches us these incredible ways that we can really get more in touch and get our mind body more connected, because even though we may resist it, it's all one. And whatever's going on here is going on down here.
Yeah, and vice versa too, there's all different ways to heal the body. So in this quiz, it just helps people with the first step, which is awareness, and I would just invite you, if you're like, oh my God, it says I'm significantly misaligned, go ahead and practice that undercover kindness tool.
Yeah, ASAP, get on it.
Yeah, because we've lived our whole lives like this. It's also it's the way that we've survived. It's the way that we are who we are, and mm-hmm. We only learn this information when we have the tools to heal it, when we're ready. So that awareness is a beautiful first step.
Yes. And if you have any questions for Dr. Erin, make sure that you just post them right here under this video and she'll answer them for you. And I really encourage you to hop on over to her Facebook group and, just follow along as she guides you as to how you can become, more connected with yourself. And, this is just a beautiful time for us to do that. It just feels so good. So good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was great to be with you all today.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, Dr. Erin. We're so grateful to you.
My pleasure.
All right. Bye, everyone. Sending you lots of love. Bye.
Bye.